She talks, she walks. But does that mean if Lois Lerner gets immunity, everyone at the IRS walks? Time for our legal eagles to walk this way. Well, forget a penny for your thoughts. How about we keep you out of the slammer if you just freaking talk? That is the offer apparently on the table for the woman at the center of this IRS mess. To get Lois Lerner to talk, investigators will give her immunity to all but let her sing like a canary and finally get to the bottom of this targeting spree at the IRS and fast. But let's say Lois gets that deal. What is the deal for all of those lawsuits against the agency itself? To attorney Evangeline Gomez, who says you can kiss them goodbye, and Remy Spencer, who says not so fast. Evangeline, explain why those lawsuits would then be dead on arrival.
For her, any type of criminal prosecution, there may be an issue. If she provides some testimony while she's been granted immunity, even if it's limited use immunity, you can't use those statements in a criminal prosecution against her because she was granted
immunity.
Well, I know
for her, but what about these groups who might take the words that she says to use as a backing for a suit?
Well, definitely what you will hear from their attorneys is that, guess what? She was able to be granted immunity, then why can't our clients be granted immunity? Now, it's not automatic. That's going to be a policy decision that the committee is going to have to make. It's not a legal guarantee, but you can imagine that those attorneys are going to fight for it. If she got it, hey, our clients are going to get it too.
All right. Does it make those suing, though, have more of an uphill battle, Remy?
Not really, no, Neil. And this is not an uncommon occurrence. In just about every federal criminal matter, there is one person who gets the benefit of an immunity deal. She may be that person in this case because she, in a leadership position, may have the most information. Doesn't mean that anybody else caught up in the scandal is going to be entitled to immunity. She offers her information, she gets a benefit for it, and those who are in fact responsible for this harassing and intimidating scheme through the IRS will be held accountable for it.
Yeah, but what if it stops at her? Because she headed up this division that did this sort of thing and then was responsible for tax-exempt status groups and all that. And you could make the argument that if she was sort of with a wink and a nod going after these groups, she's absolved of any culpability, and it stops with her because she was the one deciding culpability.
Two issues with that, I'd say, is number one, she's not going to get a full grant of immunity no matter what. Her lawyer may ask for it. Her lawyer may say that she's entitled to it.
She won't talk unless she does, all right?
There's very strong likelihood that she'll get some immunity, not complete. And the second thing is, it's not common that somebody, even though she's in a leadership position, is going to be exclusively and wholly responsible for what happened. There will be others who are culpable, and they will be held accountable.
All right, I want to get back to the people suing Evangeline. All right, you have all these lawsuits piling up. She says something that incriminates the IRS all the more. Whether others can get the same sort of immunity deal or not,
it'll be up to the committee.
Her testimony will empower them, right? I mean, and I would assume improve their chances of succeeding in a suit, right?
Well, it can go either way. I think what's really important here is we have to look back to the Ollie North case of the 80s. And that was a situation where, remember, he went before a committee and he was granted immunity. And then they decided to use statements that he made as evidence for a criminal prosecution. It was appealed. Court came back and said, no, you can't use this evidence because he was granted immunity and it violates his constitutional right of self-incrimination. And so I think what you're going to see here is attorneys for the committee and for her are going to understand, hey, this is precedent that's out there, and we've got to honor it.
There's also an important distinction between criminal matters and civil matters. So even if she's granted some form of immunity, she may be protected as far as a criminal prosecution goes. That doesn't do anything to a civil lawsuit, where there is extensive discovery, where people get information, and where her words absolutely can be used against her. And we know, of course, the biggest distinction between civil and criminal is money in prison, or money and liberty. So even if she gets some form of immunity, that doesn't mean she gets to walk away from this scot-free.
I'm not worried about her. I'm worried about those who were harassed and whether they have any legal recourse, you know? We don't know. Ladies, thank you very, very much. In the meantime, remember when the president promised this?
I've reviewed the Treasury Department watchdog's report, and the misconduct that it uncovered is inexcusable. We're going to hold the responsible parties accountable.
That was like one of my diet resolutions. That was nearly 2 months ago. And you might find this hard to believe, but the FBI still has not contacted a single targeted group to get to the bottom of this. Now, if the FBI hasn't noticed, there are 41 groups suing, and one of their lead attorneys is stewing, and stewing only with me. Jordan Sikilo on why this is getting bad to worse fast.